All right. I'm going to say hello to everyone that is out there. Welcome to Nichols Middle School Open House. We are going to be presenting with our admin team, our school adjustment counselors, our unified arts teachers, and our school nurse, and Mrs. Hitu, our speech and language teacher. So we will begin our presentation. All right. So first of all, thank you for taking time to join us tonight. We'll have some introductions of the administrative team. You'll meet our nurse and speech and language teacher, and as I said, our unified arts and guidance counselors. We're going to talk about some of the focus areas for Nichols Middle School, some of our expectations, some daily routines, and some safety protocols that we have in place. So that's where we will be headed with our agenda tonight. We can switch. Thank you. All right, so some background information. I'm Heidi Latenda, principal here at Nichols Middle School. Some of you I may already know. I've been administrator. This is my 18th year. I started at Mary Kay Good School as an assistant principal with Anita Rodriguez back in 2003 to 2008. Then I was over in Bridgewater Rainham for 10 years as an assistant principal, then a principal. Then I went to MEC, and now I'm at Nichols Middle School. I moved on for all the M's to the N's for Nichols. So I'm very excited to be here working with this wonderful team of teachers and all of you, all of our families, and all of our students. It's been a great transition so far. I would like to say thank you to our families for being very patient and to all of our students for being patient as we transition to the new guidelines and trying to get our school ready for the upcoming year. I know we had some technology issues to start, but we seem to be in a much better place now thanks to our tech department and Dr. Melanie Gates and that entire team. Our focus area for the district this year, as well as our school, is talking about well-being, relationships, and academics. So the well-being of our students is utmost importance for all of us, as we need your students available and ready to learn. And that's just checking in, doing temperature checks, seeing how they're doing, seeing how their night went. Did they eat breakfast? Are they feeling okay? Did they have a rough night? Are there any peer conflicts? So we want your child to come in and be ready for school, ready to learn, and that takes a process. And in middle school, there are a lot of different things going on with our adolescent students. So we are aware of that, and we're patient with them, and we're looking forward to getting to know them personally. We do have a new schedule this year, as you may already know, and we have that extension block first period, and we have Character Strong, and it's a curriculum that lends itself to building those relationships and identifying your child's well-being and making sure they're ready and available to learn. We're really working on building a positive school culture and learning environment so your child can stay engaged and build relationships with their friends, but also their teachers and the admin staff and this entire team here at Nichols Middle School. And making connections is so important so that your child feels that they can take risk and ask questions and feel safe in school. And that's what we are here for, to support your child and help them get through their day. Every day is new challenges for us as adults and especially for our students. And living in this world of COVID is very challenging for all of us. So it's hard, it's challenging, we're persevering through it all, and everyone's doing a fantastic job. So thank you to our families, thank you to our students, thank you to our entire faculty and staff here at Nichols Middle School. We're all riding this wave together, and running this StreamYard tonight is a new learning curve for me as well. And so I'm happy it's up and running, and so far so good. So I just want to talk a little bit about the social emotional learning. There are 5 domains from the collaborative. Can you go back a second? From the Collaborative for Academic Social Emotional Learning, which is CASEL. CASEL is a very, it's a research-based company that feeds us a lot of information about social emotional learning and developmental levels and where students are at and what they are hoping to learn and be able to do. Thank you, Mr. Hancock, if you want to. So here are the 5 areas: self-management, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, social awareness, and the first one really is self-awareness. And it's really about helping students manage their emotions, their attitudes, demonstrate empathy and patience, and also display kindness and build healthy relationships, as well as finding ways to put themselves in other people's shoes, understanding other people's situations, and just being a good friend. And what does that mean? And how do we problem solve? As you know, in middle school, students are trying to figure out where they belong, who are their friends, what does their friend group look like. They do a lot of keyboard courage, if you would say, with Snapchat and saying a lot of things to each other through Snapchat. But sometimes when they come to school and they have to face those friends, it makes it hard for them. And that face-to-face problem-solving skills can be a challenge, especially at the middle school. But I really think for any age, but at this age, students are just trying to figure out where they belong, where they fit in. Sixth graders present more like elementary school students when they come in. They're a little nervous coming into a new school. They've been doing fantastic. Our seventh graders are starting to go through changes and becoming a little more bold and testy. And then our eighth graders are still doing some of the same things, but also towards the end of that eighth grade year, they are learning that they are going to the high school the next year and starting to become a little more independent and responsible in their decision making. I always say that our middle school students, they want to fit in, but they're kind of stuck between child and adult. They want to be treated like an adult. They want the independence and responsibility, but they can't follow through with that on their own. And that's where us as leaders and educators and as parents and grandparents and family members, we are role models. And we need to help our children slow down and think about their reactions to situations, help them to problem solve and stop and think. And our job is to help build their toolkit. You know, if they're feeling anxious or upset about something, what can we do to best help them get through their day? How can we help them walk through a problem? Having conversations with students and building those relationships and checking in on those well-being will help with all of these processes that we all go through, and that we expect a lot from our middle schoolers. And we need to remember they are still kids, and they are still kids who need routines and structure. And the hardest part for us as adults, as parents, is to say no and stick with it. You know, a lot of times our students are telling us that they're up all night on their cell phone and they're going to bed at 3, 4 in the morning and they're tired and sleeping through first period. Or, you know, when you're tired and cranky, your day doesn't go very well the next day for the most part. So it's really important for parents to set routines and structures in place, having those bedtimes, taking their phones away at night. My boys, when they were at this age, I took their phones and charged them in my room. They couldn't have access to them. It was like 9 o'clock, say goodbye, say, you know, do all your streaks on Snapchat to all your friends that you have, and then shut it down. Students need that. They need their brains to settle and be ready for bed and to relax and be able to sleep. Their brains are still racing all day and still thinking about all the conversations and drama that might happen between them and their friends. Or maybe they're excited about something, which is great too. So, you know, it's hard. It's a hard job for all of us, but we want to build those social skills. We want to help our students become responsible decision makers and great citizens. And it takes team effort and communication. So if you're struggling with anything at home, please reach out to us or our guidance counselors. We're here to support you, and we're all on the same page. We can help each child become more successful in their day. You can switch. All right, some structures here at school, and you'll learn a little more about this. As you know, we have unified arts, and we changed the schedule. So your student has, or your child has, unified arts by trimester. So every trimester they will change. And it's a 6-day rotating cycle, so they'll have the same UA twice in the 6-day rotation. During our extension block, which is about 40 minutes every morning, that's when we have time for that character strong lessons and building relationships, and also getting organized and ready for the day, which is a huge task for kids. It's about self-regulation and getting organized and organizing themselves and their materials and knowing what class they have next. And did I do my homework? Or is my homework done? And do I have all my lessons written down? Do I have a timeline? I always say to my own boys, you have a great tool in your hand. And a lot of students have the calendar, the Google Calendar on their computer, and they also have their cell phone. We don't allow cell phones in Nichols Middle School during the day for numerous reasons, but there's a calendar on there that they can build everything in and sync it to their phone calendar. So if something is due or they need to study for a test, they can put everything right into their phone. And it sets reminders. I know I have to do that for myself. And it's about teaching your child to get organized and organize themselves. And this is all part of becoming more independent. And it takes longer for some than others, but A lot of times it's guidance and structure from the parents that really help with this. Our ITI is response to intervention. So during extension block, sometimes students might need extra help or extra support. We can provide that. Speech and language services are also provided at a pullout session during that time, so the students aren't pulled from their unified arts classes or other classes during the day. So we use that extension block for a lot of different things, but it really has been great getting students settled and getting them ready for the day, which is a huge goal. There are 2 teams per grade, and there are 5 classrooms on each team. And as you might already know, there's 1 homeroom that is virtual. We have a maximum number of students that can be in each of these classrooms. And I know parents might want to switch from virtual to hybrid. The district admin team will make those decisions, and they'll be having a meeting to discuss what that might look like when this trimester ends. Progress reports go home this Friday as well, so parents look for that in Aspen. Also, we have teachers leading students throughout the building. We have teachers and unified arts teachers meeting students where they belong instead of giving them the free reign of the hallway. One, for more structure and routine and for accountability, and also because of COVID, there's a lot of silver linings in all of this. Also at lunch, the lunch is structured different. Teachers are walking their students to the lunchroom. And teachers are walking them out for mass breaks. And then we have stanchions down the hallways, and we have arrows everywhere, just trying to keep students to follow the rules of the building and keeping everyone safe, and just so we can have some order. So those are a few things that I wanted to share with you tonight. And I'm sure there might be a lot of questions out there. And if there are, that would be wonderful. Just type them in the chat, and we'll answer as many as we can towards the end of this presentation. Right now, I'd like to pass it off to Mr. Rothmich, one of our assistant principals.
Good evening, Middleborough. Mr. Rothmich. I'm an assistant principal at Nichols Middle School. A little bit about me. This is my 16th year with the Middleborough Public Schools. I was a history teacher, so if you have older children, they may remember me, or siblings, that sort of thing. Now I am working through the position of assistant principal, and I primarily support 3 teams in the building: the Challengers in grade 6 and the Adventurers in grade 6. And the Explorers in grade 7. So those are the teams that I predominantly am involved with, but both Mr. Hancock and I kind of cross-team and work with all students in the Nichols Middle School. So do you want to move on, Mr. Hancock?
Hi, everyone. Good to see you here this evening. My name is Mr. Hancock, and I'm the assistant principal for the Apollos 8th grade team, the Comets 8th grade team, as well as the Beacons in the 7th grade. I taught for about 16 years, and this is my 2nd year in Middleborough. I'm excited to start my 2nd year here, and I'm going to spend today and in a moment talk to you a little bit about some of the procedures that go on in school to kind of keep everybody safe and healthy here, as well as Mr. Rothmich going over a few expectations and some restorative practices. Mr. Rothmich, you want to set us up for the first 2?
Yeah, let's chat. So we're just going to talk through a little bit on those student expectations, as Mr. Hancock mentioned. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our restorative practices that we are trying to really focus on at Nichols Middle School at the moment. So if you want to move on to our next slide, Mr. Hancock. So a little bit about our bus expectations. In some ways, things have changed a bit. In some ways, things haven't changed. So we're still expecting students to be polite and kind to their drivers. We're still expecting students to sit in their seats and to talk quietly with the folks around them, so that the bus driver can focus on the essential task and focus on the safety of all students, to make sure they are getting to school safe on a very large vehicle driving through our roads around town. Sometimes we have some small roads and intricate places for drivers to figure out as they navigate our kids to school. So that hasn't changed, and our kids are generally very good about that. What has changed this year with our COVID guidelines, students are required to wear a mask at all times on the bus. So that is something that's obviously different, and it's for everyone's safety. It was part of the guidelines that the Massachusetts put out for public transportation and public school transportation as we were looking at reopening schools this year. So just want to remind folks, make sure you pack those masks, give your kids a backup mask. The drivers do have some backup masks on board, but just a useful thing. And if something happens, we are there to provide. We've got extras, we've got backups, we have things, masks snap partway through the day, that sort of thing. But that's our bus expectations. In terms of the cafeteria, we've changed that as well. Some of the stuff is still the same. Students are still, and we want them to have a time to enjoy their drinks, their food, want them to enjoy their conversation the same way we would in years past. And Ms. Latender really put us out there thinking about how can we do, give the students the best possible experience in the cafeteria, within the guidelines that we have in terms of providing for a safe environment and within the COVID guidelines that we have. So one of the nice things about the schedule change that actually was a really great byproduct of this schedule change is the 20-minute block in between. So we have a half-hour lunch period, and then there's 20 minutes following lunch in which the lunch staff can go through and clean every surface, and then the custodial staff comes through and sanitizes everything. So that's just been wonderful so far. In terms of our lunch flow, students come in, as Ms. Latender said, we bring them down class by class and seat the students in the cafeteria. Once they're in the caf, they should be 6 feet apart at least 6 feet apart from everyone else around them. So they're allowed to take their masks off, chat with the folks around them, enjoy their meals, enjoy that time in the cafeteria. Calling students up, sending them up in the line, and the cafeteria is doing free lunches for all students for the entirety of the school year. So we have students that are enjoying those, and the cafeteria staff has done a wonderful job with providing some great meals this year to kids. One of the topics to talk about with folks as I walk through every day, talking to kids about what they're having for lunch and what they're enjoying and that sort of thing. So and then we go through and dismiss them, and they head back to classes. In terms of our remote learning, just want to touch on this briefly. I know a lot of teams have talked about this. A lot of teachers have talked with students and parents, but this is something we shared out with our kids at Nichols. With some expectations. So one of those things, we want students to be prepared and ready to go for classes, have a nice quiet place in the home. And that's really, I think that's been one of the things that some kids have struggled with a little bit. We know that life is happening. We know that, there's going to be pet incidents. Cats are going to jump on you in the middle of class, and siblings are there. Little toddlers don't understand always that kids are engaging with learning. So we understand that life is happening at the same time that we're sorting out remote learning, but we're just encouraging kids to find that safe, quiet place in the house to work, to be on time for their classes, to make sure their cameras are on so that teachers know that they're engaged in their classes. And teachers will give them a heads up when to mute mics, when to, not mute mics. And we really want to focus on that other piece in the bottom left-hand corner. One of the things that we sometimes struggle with is having students using multiple devices or multiple windows and having their attention divided. And we know that we all think that we can multitask, and kids are no different than we are. But we know that when we divide our attention, we're not getting our best results out. So we ask that kids just be active in the online classes and a participant in their learning. And then I believe we'll move on to just a little bit about restorative practices. What are restorative practices? You can see the idea is we want students to understand their connection to one another and to their community, and that when they make a poor decision, it's not that they have failed in something necessarily. It's that they made a poor decision that has impacted others or impacted their community. And we want to be able to help and empower students to recognize when they've impacted another person or impacted their community, and how to fix those issues, how to fix relationships with their peers, with their teachers, with our custodial staff, whoever it happens to be, with other students. And the goal is to prevent it, to reduce it, and ultimately to get kids where they can resolve conflicts. Hopefully we want them to eventually resolve their conflicts on their own, but we want to guide them in that process. And we want to hold kids accountable. We want to hold them accountable for their choices, but we want them to understand the impact on the greater community around them and help them be able to take steps to repair that harm. So that's a major guiding principle that our teachers are focused on when they are working with our students, Mr. Hancock and I. That's a major thought process with every interaction that we have with students when it comes to the traditional discipline role of assistant principals. The goal is really, how can we fix relationships? How can we help students make better choices and understand their choices? And that's the sort of quick overview of that concept. We could spend an entire master's degree working on this one, but that's the basic starting point there.
All right, thanks, Mr. Rothmich. So given the current climate that we're in, we figured it would be very important for you to know how we're keeping everyone safe at school when they visit. One of the things that we're doing is we're making sure that each period students are provided an opportunity for a mask break. And that mask break is a total of 10 minutes. Students have an opportunity to either go outside or within the team. They can also go within the building, a specified location for that mask break. And that's pretty important. We understand that it may be difficult for students to wear masks for the entire period and the entire day, and we incorporated some of that strategy to try to help. We also ask that all students socially distance, and that's something that we have signs posted throughout the building, reminding students and staff and visitors to socially distance as they proceed throughout the building. Another important thing that we've implemented this year is sanitization protocols. We have this, you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, this device here. And this device is great for our custodial staff to use to sanitize large areas quickly. And it fogs the area with a disinfectant and sanitizes the whatever it comes into contact with. They use this during on highly touched surfaces such as door handles and railings, as well as frequently after each lunch period, they go in and they take care of all of the desks after they've even been cleaned, and they fog the entire area for the students to come in for the next period. The other thing that we've done is we made sure that there's hand washing, sanitization stations in each classroom, and we use a alcohol-based sanitizer. The next thing that we've done is changed a little bit of the arrival and the dismissal procedures. What we wanted to do is we want to minimize the amount of students traveling, trying to go into one door. So what we've done is we actually have it separated so that we have a parent drop-off section for the arrivals. We have a location for the 7th grade and the 8th grade students to come in. So we've actually been able to minimize and keep everybody socially distanced as they enter the school. We've done the same thing for dismissals. The similar door traveling throughout the hallways we use for all of our dismissals, so that when students are dismissed, they're not congregating really close together. It keeps that social distancing that we're trying to do to kind of keep everybody safe. And we do have the buses there, and we've set up a new system for our late buses. When our buses come a little bit late, instead of going down into the auditorium where we would have a large group of students, we've been able to separate them throughout the building so that we can still continue to socially distance and have all of the buses show up on that staggered point. The next thing we're going to go to is Mrs. Bertram, the nurse, and she's going to speak a little bit about our health and wellness. Mrs. Bertram.
I don't think she's in right now. She's going to go last.
Okay.
Oh, toward the end. Yep, we'll go back to her.
Thank you.
Mr. Thompson will be next. Yep.
Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Unmute. Mr. Thompson, you need to unmute. Bottom left or bottom of your screen. Mr. Thompson, the bottom of your screen on the left side, you should hover your mouse right over the microphone. Why don't we move on and we'll let Mr. Thompson figure out how to use the microphone, and Miss Rich will go next.
Hello, I'm Miss Rich. I teach PE. I'm one of the three of us. Your child will have PE twice per cycle all year. Right now, we're in the middle of a soccer and lacrosse unit. Units that will be coming up after will include yoga, cardio workouts, dance, more weightlifting oriented workouts, hockey. Then we haven't really planned out the rest of the year. We're trying to include as many units as we can where the kids can safely social distance and not share equipment as well as being outside. We are planning on staying outside until November 23rd. So please make sure your child's bringing a sweatshirt with them, maybe some old sneakers if the grass is a little damp, so that and spread out.
Thank you, Miss Rich. And next, Mrs. Young.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Young. I'm one of the, oops, my camera's sorry. There we go. I'm one of two music teachers. I teach both general music and chorus. Chorus is a little bit different this year. We're doing it during our extension block, but we're having a lot of fun, and we go outside and we sing outside. So just like in gym, make sure you send your child with warm coats. We go out and we might need gloves and hats sometimes too. You never know. We are doing general music by trimester. You see me twice. Students have me twice per cycle. One of your trimesters, the students will have me, and the other trimester they'll have our other general music teacher, Mrs. Thornton. We're working on having them work with the 3 artistic processes, which are creating, performing, and responding to music. So, and that's that.
Thank you, Mrs. Young.
Hi there. I'm Mrs. Thornton. As Mrs. Young said, I am the other music teacher, and she went over everything you see on my slide there too. So students who have me right now will have Mrs. Young in another trimester, and students who have Mrs. Young right now will have me in another trimester. And if they haven't had music yet, they'll see us both later this year. Band and orchestra are meeting once per 6-day cycle. So I only see them once every 6 days, which is less than usual. So it's really important for parents to remind them to practice at home. We don't have a practice card to turn in Google Classroom or in real life like we used to do, but they are requested to practice 10 minutes a day, and in their Google Classroom is posted a suggested practice calendar. So whatever pages I'd like them to work on for that day are posted in Google Classroom. And there's also posted in the Google Classroom stream the dates from now until Thanksgiving when their particular cohort has band or orchestra, because it's a little tricky juggling the 6-day rotation with the cohort in and out. Unfortunately, I can't teach both a remote and a live class at the same time, in particular because band has to be outside. So if your student is remote on a band day or an orchestra day, please encourage them to use that extension block period for additional practicing. Once they've practiced everything on their practice calendar, they can simply practice whatever they enjoy. And if you have any specific instrumental music questions for band or orchestra, please send me an email and I'll do my best to answer those.
Thank you, Mrs. Thornton. Mrs. Walgreen.
Hi there, I'm Mrs. Walgreen. I'm the library media specialist, and I do have classes, and my classes meet by the trimester, and 2 classes per cycle will be seen. We do have book checkout, which is great. During the extended homeroom, classes will come in by homeroom every 3 weeks. We rotate them in every 3 weeks so that everybody has a chance to check out a book, renew a book, return a book, and all that good stuff. We also have something called Sora, which is an online app for getting ebooks, and it's very user friendly, and it's a great source for books when you can't be in school. Seeing that the kids are partly home during the week, it is a great source for them to have when they can't get a book in the school. They can go on to Sora and get their ebook. There is a link to it off of the school website, but you can also go to soraapp.com if you have any issues with your child getting onto the site. Just email me. But it's basically the students go in with the username password they use for all their other apps. And I did check on the class link that is where all the apps are, and it didn't look like it was there. So I am getting a hold of technology to make sure that gets in that the class links as well. And we're having an online book fair right now. Usually we have our book fair in the library during parent conferences, but due to the pandemic, we are having our fair online, and it's going on right now. So you can go to the Nichols Middle School website. There is a link for the book fair, and you can shop their store, and the books get mailed right to your house, which is great. So you don't have to pick them up at the school, or you don't have to worry about your child having to bring them home. So that's another thing going on right now until Tuesday. I do want to say also that it's your students, the children who do have me right now for classes and will have me throughout the year. It's very important that they do bring a tablet or device with them, because we do a lot of online research and looking up websites and things. So it's really hard for them to do the work if they don't have their tablet ready to go. So charging it the night before is always a great idea, even for their other classes, so they have an active working tablet all day. So that's about it. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm Mr. Donovan. I am the STEAM teacher at NMS. STEAM, for those of you that don't know, is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. This has traditionally been a hands-on classroom since I began teaching this class, and even through the teachers before me. Unfortunately, through COVID, we've had to kind of change things up a little bit. We still fit in some hands-on activities, but for the most part, we've been really exploring technology and how we use it in our day-to-day life. All of these subjects, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, we try to incorporate every single class, at least 1 to 2, and sometimes 3 of them, depending on the project. In 6th grade, we talk about basically what is engineering, the engineering design process, manufacturing processes. In 7th grade, we do a lot of technological work with transportation systems, communication systems, robotics. And in 8th grade, we use the engineering design process again to work on our problem-solving capabilities and using the engineering design process to build things to solve larger projects. For example, this year, our major project in 8th grade is going to be colonizing Mars as a planet, and how do we create a livable system that we can somehow someday live there. Every class, kids need their technology, much like Miss Walgren in the library. So it really helps if they charge it up and they have it ready to go every day. I know, especially for 7th graders, that's really hard sometimes because, well, they've been using their tablets all day for just about all of their classes. So making sure that they go to school every day with a fully charged battery really pays like dividends on its own, because the last couple periods, usually we're on our last couple bars of energy, both mentally, emotionally, and on our tablets as well. So I think that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Francois, and I'm the art teacher. We meet twice, 2 times per cycle. It's a trimester class. I do base my teaching around the elements of art and the principles of design. I also include famous artists and art periods. In the art room, the kids are very comfortable. So remote, the kids are actually doing really wonderful. I was a little bit like, how am I going to do art remotely? But I present PowerPoints, YouTube videos. And then we actually draw. And the kids have asked for more drawing time, which has completely surprised me. I also suggested that use some digital art apps, and the kids are really great at helping each other, finding new free apps. The mandalas that you see underneath my name were actually done by some of the kids with Mandala Maker Online, which one of the children found and shared with everybody. And I just think they're doing really great. It's a great time for them to relax and use the creative side of themselves. And I feel like I'm making actually deeper connections with them remotely, which is very interesting to me. I have them up on the screen. I always check in with them. And I don't think they feel so afraid to do art remotely. The other thing that we're also doing is we're going to start bringing artwork into the school and making it more colorful, and the kids are really excited about participating in that. And then the artwork below is stuff that the children have done. And we're going to start putting art in Tiger Times.
Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Moore. And Mr. Charpentier, you're up next.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Charpentier, and I teach our tech class here at Nichols Middle School. And it's for our digital innovations class. Starting with the 6th grade, we do a lot with foundational work. We actually connect with what we're doing from the K to 5. So we do a lot with typing. We also do a lot with Scratch as an introduction to computer science. We also try to tie in design, since the arts are still very important, especially in this day and age. So specifically, we're working with some pixel and vector programs to get the students ready. At the 7th grade level, we do start working with more of the projects that you do see on the screen right now. So specifically, web design is a big one, so front-end development, to really try to give the students an opportunity to check with HTML and CSS, which are two backbone technologies used for website design. At the 8th grade level, we do a lot with digital audio. So we're actually mixing using an online emulator. And we also do a lot with 3D modeling and 3D printing. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charpentier. I'm going to go to Mrs. Eunice.
All right, my slide's not up yet. Here I am. All right, so my name's Megan Eunice. I teach phys ed. I'm one of the 3 phys ed teachers in the school. Kind of like it was stated earlier, we do see them 2 times out of the cycle. Some of the units that we're working on this year, and we're trying to fit it based off the COVID guidelines, was soccer and lacrosse, some yoga. We're going to do some cardio workout, dance, some group workouts, and then hopefully some hockey. That's not all that we're doing this year. That's just up until March so far that I've got planned. We are going to be trying to be outside till November 23rd, because if we're outside and we're at least 10 feet apart, I can have the students with their masks off for long periods of time during the class, which is great. So please be bringing those jackets and those sweatshirts and things so that we can be outside as much as possible. Just a couple of the things that we do, and then the kids are virtually on their remote days doing phys ed class as well. There are some worksheets and things that they'll be doing, projects and things to show the knowledge piece of what they're understanding and the concepts and strategies and stuff that we've been teaching in person, kind of showing us that they're understanding and learning it through written work and that kind of stuff as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Eunice. And now we're going back to Mr. Thompson. He was just there a minute ago. Oh, he's trying to come in. Unmute your mic, Mr. Thompson. There you go, Mr. Thompson. You're up. Oh, you just clicked it off again. There you go.
All right, you hear me?
We can hear you. Say hello.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. T. I've been here since the building opened, and I'm excited for a good year. We're doing some fun activities with the kids. I know it's tough with the times that we're having, but we're keeping everybody safe, and we're having fun activities. Right now, we just finished up a badminton unit, and we're doing a basketball unit now, and then we'll be doing like soccer, track, fitness units, fitness activities. So we're gonna have a lot of fun and do a wide variety of activities, and intramurals. I'm also starting an intramural program, which would be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting next Thursday on the 5th. That will run from 2:30 to 3:30. There is a late bus available, and we're going to run a kickball/softball. There is a intramural form that has to be filled out with the $25 money order fee. So if anyone's interested in that, or if your child comes home and mentions anything about that, that will be starting next week, and it'll run to right before Christmas break.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. And those packets for the—
That's about it.
The packets for the intramural can be found in the office. You all set, Mr. Thompson? All right.
Yeah, we have them in the main office. I have them. Miss Eunice and Miss Rich have.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I think you were glitching out a little bit. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think, Mr. Thompson, you are freezing. I'm going to move on to Mrs. Hitu.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Hitu. I'm the speech pathologist here at the Nichols Middle School. This is my 17th year here at Nichols. I provide services through students' individualized education plans. Our areas of focus that we cover in our communication groups range from social communication to articulation. I'm very fortunate that I get to work with every team and every department here at the Nichols Middle School. So I have a fantastic group of people surrounding me, helping my students generalize their skills. This year, we're doing some things a little bit differently. We're doing quite a bit of our services virtually. The benefit of the virtual services actually allows the students to be able to see facial expressions, to demonstrate facial expressions, and also to eliminate some of the challenges we have in terms of communicating with the mask. If you have questions for me regarding specific needs, you can reach me through email. You can reach out to the coordinators. You can reach out to any of the administration here. I look forward to a wonderful year. Thank you.
I know Mrs. Bertram's having technical difficulty. Just hold on 1 second so I can help. Here's Mrs. Bertram. Hi, I'm Mrs. Bertram, the school nurse. I'm here for your children if they need anything when they're at school, if they're not feeling well. We so appreciate your following the guidelines this year of checking your children before they come to school to make sure that they don't have any signs or symptoms of illness. Unfortunately, a lot of the signs and symptoms of COVID-19 are also signs and symptoms of other things that aren't quite as severe. So we often used to see kids in school for those and let them go back to class or have them rest for a little bit of time in the nurse's office. Unfortunately, we don't have that luxury this year because we obviously don't want to be passing something to any other student that is more significant than allergies or something that, like a common cold that you can pass on. So again, thank you so much for checking on them before they leave the house, making sure that they feel okay when they are here. And also thank you for taking our phone calls when we call and being quick to come to get them. Everybody's been great. This is an awful thing that we're going through, but this too will pass. And another thing that I just have to mention quickly is the flu shot mandate. That's also new this year, and the flu shot is required for any school-age student, and the deadline for that will be December 31st. So as soon as your child gets it, please continue to send in the proof of their vaccinations. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Bertram. And if anyone has any questions, specific questions for our school nurse, you can always reach out, email, or call us. And if there are general questions, you can type it in the private chat. Let's see, up next, we have Mrs. Foley. So let me welcome them in. Give me 1 second. Mrs. Foley, you're coming on. There's Mrs. Foley, and our guidance team is coming up.
Hi, I'm Lacey Foley. I'm one of the school adjustment counselors in the counseling department here at Nichols Middle School. Our counseling and guidance department mainly just provides services to all of the students. Our goal is to provide them with social emotional support within the school setting so we can help them be successful academically. So our main areas of focus are on social skills, coping skills, and strategies within the classroom and while at school. Just general student support for day-to-day things given the current state of what's going on. We're definitely there to support them through all of their nerves, high school applications, and then just general classroom support. So our hope as the counseling department this year is that we can have a year that's full of fun and opportunities and successful experiences for all the students, regardless of COVID-19 and them being in the hybrid model. We just want to make sure that they feel supported in and out of the classroom while they're in our care. So we will continue to plan to run our social emotional groups, both online and in person, and meet with students and parents individually to offer daily support. So our main goal is just to make sure all our students have a safe space to go to when they need someone to talk to at school. Okay, so as I said before, I'm Lacey Foley. I'm one of the school adjustment counselors here. I work primarily with cohort 3 students, which includes any cohort 4 students who belong to the 6th grade challengers, the 7th grade explorers, and the 8th grade beacons. And my primary focus is social emotional learning and providing in the moment support for every student in our school community. I also work on transitioning when the students come from 5th to 6th grade, maintaining the students in support in 7th grade, and working with Miss Moriarty on high school information and applications for students in grade 8. So I just work with students with social emotional needs on a daily basis, and I really enjoy supporting all of our students so they can learn in the best possible environment.
Thank you, Mrs. Foley. Mr. Brandon, I think you're up.
I'm Tom Brandon. I'm the school adjustment counselor. I tend to focus a lot of the practice with the students on social skill development and facilitating groups that nurture those kinds of skills. It's been a little different this year, and the groups have been a little bit smaller, and the check-ins and conversations have been a little bit more awkward due to the fact that people need to wear masks. But so the check-ins and have tended to take place both in the cafeteria and during our extended block at the beginning of the day. We like to try and do lessons that incorporate the character, strong messages that the children are hearing in their homerooms, and ways to help them become more comfortable within the building. I think the one focus this year is going to be helping the kids. School's typically quite difficult for the young people, and as Ms. Latenda said earlier, the school's a difficult job, and they have some other things that are sometimes creating difficulties for them in addition to the hard stuff that we ask them to do every day. So it's the idea of supporting them and keeping them engaged on a daily basis.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon.
You bet.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are.
Fabulous. I started speaking when it was already muted. My name is Megan Moriarty. The kids call me Miss Mo. I am also one of the school counselors here at Nichols. So I work primarily with the cohort 2 students. So I have, if your student is assigned to the grade 6 adventurers, the grade 7 beacons, or the grade 8 comets, I am your go-to guidance counselor if you have any questions about high school applications, social emotional support, everything that Mrs. Foley and Mr. Brandon said. I echo it. We love being in the building. We love supporting the kids. This is definitely a challenging year for sure. And I think it's hard on our end knowing that so much of COVID is beyond our control. But we're still there for them, chugging along, working on social skills, coping skills, and things that are going to make that adjustment to middle school a little bit easier.
Thank you, Mrs. Moriarty.
So I can wrap us up with how to meet with us. Every student in the building should be checking their Middleborough Public Schools email daily, not just for their academics, but also because that's how they receive a lot of important announcements and information. And at the beginning of the school year, they should have received an email from the counseling department with a link to the counselor appointment request form. So we don't see students unless they are having a moment and it's an intense moment that they really need someone to bring them out of a panic or anxiety attack, if they're crying, if they're visibly upset. And naturally, we have teachers use their professional discretion for when they need to check in the moment. But if there's a student that just wants to chat about high school options, or maybe, you know, something that might be worrying them at home, but it's kind of lower level, we ask them to fill out this form. So this form is available on the counseling department website. It should also be in every student's email, and we periodically will send an update to all students that has this with them, but we encourage all the students to bookmark it onto their device. Whether you are a full remote student or you are in the building, we still are happy to meet with you. We can set up Google Meets. Our full remote students are welcome to join us in groups as well. But a lot of times we just ask that you fill out that form first, and then we can set something up whenever we're available. So parents and guardians are also welcome to call us or email us at any time. I know Mrs. Foley and I are usually much faster on email. I don't know if Mr. Brandon would say the same thing, but we are usually quicker to respond via email. And then if it's ever an emergency, you can always call the front office and they can request to page us immediately. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Moriarty. Thank you to our guidance team and all of our UA teachers, Unified Arts teachers, Mrs. He2, and our school nurse. It has been a very busy year and a lot going on, but I feel like everyone's doing very well and everyone's doing the best they can in the situation we are in. I feel like our boys and girls deserve kudos. All our students have really adjusted well to the new routine. We know it's not ideal, and we know it's not always best for kids because we would love to have them all here at school, but we are all working under these new guidelines and protocols, and I think everyone's been rallying and doing a fantastic job. So thank you to all of our parents out there, all of our Nichols Middle School families. Thank you to my admin team and the UA teachers and the guidance team and our nurse and just everybody here at Nichols Middle School, as everyone's doing the best they can with the new regulations. So thank you so much for your patience. If there are any questions, I'd like to entertain them. I've been answering some of the questions. Will this be recorded? I believe it does stay up on YouTube. And we do have parent conferences next week. And a lot of teachers will be asking parents to sign up through Sign Up Genius, and they'll probably will be using Zoom. because there's a waiting room. So I know they're 3 minutes or 5 minutes each. So parents, please check your emails and be aware that information will be coming out soon. So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast this evening, and hopefully you got enough information. If you have any further questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas, suggestions, please let us know. We're here to help you and your family and, of course, support your child. Thank you again. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. And I'll bring everybody up so they can wave and say bye, whoever's still here. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much. If our team can hold on.